thank you. I'm so humbled to be here, really.
All the way from the UK?
Oh, thank you again. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Mr. T.
I am honored and I'm humbled, and I want to say I'm not worthy, so, but thank y'all for supporting me. Thank you for coming to see me. As I tell you about it, as an actor, I try to do two things. I try to entertain and try to get a message across, and even though I play a tough guy, deep inside, I'm an old-fashioned, tough mama's boy. So thank y'all. Oh, please. Yes. Wow.
And look at this outfit. How incredible.
Because I'm patriotic,
I love it. Well, the
I'm,
Scottish flag isn't as colourful, sadly.
but it's still good people there.
Yes. You were just talking about how you'd been to London before and
Right.
Liverpool.
Yes.
And why were you there? Were you working?
Well, I did the pantomime at the Empire Theater. Yes, I did the stage. I was playing the genie.
Yes, I love that.
Yes.
Oh my God, I wish I'd seen that.
Yes.
Is this your first convention?
This is my first convention, and I'm looking forward to a long, beautiful relationship with the people. So this is a trial run for me. So I'm on my best behavior. I want to do good, and I'm reminded when my mother always told me, said, son, you be on your best behavior. So I'm gonna be on my best behavior. Thank y'all. Y'all really don't know, this not a Hollywood reaction from me. This is sincerity. I am so honored that you come out to see me. As I tell you about it, I'm just a humble kid from the south side of Chicago who had an opportunity and I took advantage of it. I never dreamed of acting. Here's who I am in a nutshell so you know where I'm coming from. I have 7 brothers and 4 sisters. My father is a minister. My mother used to be a maid. She was a scrub woman. When I was 9 years old, growing up on the south side of Chicago on welfare and food stamps, I showed my mother a picture. I said, Mama, one of these days, I'm going to be big and strong. I'm going to be a football player and a boxer. I said, I'm going to buy you a beautiful house, Mama, and I'm going to buy you pretty dresses. I never dreamed of being in the movies. We was on welfare, food stamps. I was the captain of the football team in high school and a champion wrestler in Chicago. But before I went to school, my mother would knock on the neighbor's door to borrow me a quarter and 50 cents. That's how poor we were, And from that's why I'm so charitable now. I do events, I make money, and I give it back to the less fortunate because that's where I come from. So that's my story, And my mother always would tell me, whatever I do, she said, son, don't forget to pray, and don't forget the less fortunate. So that's who I am. I act tough. Hey, fool, I'm gonna get you. Hey, that's like, so deep inside. So I just want to give you a background of who I am. I am honored that you make a big thing of me, but I tell everybody, my union card says actor. I'm not really a celebrity. I'm not really an icon and all that. I try to be personable. I want you to know that you can meet me in the supermarket, at the car wash. I don't travel with a big entourage, keep fans away. I want fans to come to me, to love on me, and tell me their stories. Some say, Mr. T, I dressed up like you for Halloween when I was a kid. Or you came to my school, and sometimes I meet people say, Mr. T, when I was sick, you came to the hospital to visit me. That's who I am, So I just want to give you a little bit. So thank you. So I'm ready to answer questions and all that. I don't know. I haven't seen the questions yet, so there's no funny stuff going on. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be truthful with you. I hope there's some tough questions. Now, I hope they're not no questions about science. Like, hey, Mr. T, how far is the Earth feels from the moon? I don't know. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say I don't know. I'm gonna tell you what I do know, and I'm gonna say I don't know that one. That's so silly. I'll tell you, we're gonna have fun. Thank y'all so much. Oh, God bless y'all. Okay, I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
Yeah.
I grew up watching you on TV. So
Oh, wow.
Through the 80s, and I was just like, oh my God. Like,
Wow.
my 10-year-old me would not believe I was sitting next to Mr. T.
No, see, now I'm gonna tell you something else about it. So all these big events and stuff like that, so you know who I am, stay humble. See, after this event, I'm gonna go home, go to my shop, go to my hotel room, my home is every place in Los Angeles, Chicago. So this evening, everything is done. I'm gonna go home, go to my hotel room, and take a shower, wash all the adulation off, so I can stay humble. So I never want to get too big and say, hey man, I'm there, people, this and that. That's why I carry my Bible. Not to try to throw something on me. That's who I am. You know, my mother taught me to pray. She taught me to be grateful, taught me to be thankful. So even stuff now, I remember one of the biggest compliments I got one time, a guy wanted to take a picture of me, and I took the picture. I said, thank you for doing it. He said, wow, Mr. T's the only celebrity to say thanks. Because next to God, without you, where would I be? So I'm honored. That's why I'm grateful that you showed up to see me. You know, just a guy who people said, the critics said wouldn't last. They say I got lucky and rocky and stuff like that, you know. But nobody want to say it was hard work. I had to beat out 1,500 guys for that role. I never acted before. I got to confess. I did act in school. My teacher used to say, stop acting a clown. I'm sorry. Okay, yes ma'am.
I wanted to ask.
Okay.
Because you are someone who's got such fire and passion and motivation.
Yes.
But has there ever been a time when you lost motivation, and how did you keep going?
Yes. I never. My faith was tested. I didn't ever lose motivation, and my faith was tested. I'm a believer in God and all that. So some of you might know I'm a cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with cancer. I thank God for everything. I was diagnosed with cancer in 1995. And let me tell you the route. And the cancer is called, of all things, T-cell lymphoma. What kind of stuff is that? So anyway, let me get around, you know. So when the fame started, after Rocky 3, then the 18 started, you know, we film in different places in Los Angeles. And I'm loving on people, telling the kids to be good, listen to the parents, don't do drugs, don't hang with the wrong crowd. You know, and so I had a big following, the kids. Then one of the production assistants told me, said, Mr. T is a little kid, want to meet you. And I thought you were like other kids. I said, okay, bring him to the set. Then she said, but he's dying. It was through the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And here I am, I said, wow, here's a kid that's dying, want to meet me, what can I say? And then I called home, and first they thought that I was like some celebrity. Said, no, tell them I'm busy. You know, and I don't want to get on with celebrities. It's a deep thing. You got to be ready for this here. And I told him, I said, no, bring the kid, bring him to the set. I said, first I have to call home to my pastor. I'm a member of a church. I've been a member there since 1977. And I called my pastor named Reverend Hardy. I said, Reverend Hardy, there's a kid that's dying. What do I say to him? I asked him for words to say because I want to do more than just say, I'm sorry, Billy. You know, I needed the words to say. And my pastor told me, he said, T, this young man, this kid, see the God qualities in you that you don't see in yourself. I believed in God, I prayed, but I felt I was going to another level, which I were. So the little kid name was Ryan. He had cystic fibrosis from the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he wanted to meet me. And he came, and I loved on him and played with him, spent time with him, drove him around in the 18 van. We let him feel my jewelry and touch my mohawk, and he laughed, and we spent about an hour together, and he had this oxygen thing strapped to him so he couldn't He was with me for an hour. And his mother said, when he got to go, and he said, how can I thank you? I said, I'm honored that he wanted to meet me. And when he left, I cried. Yes, tough Mr. T, black belt in karate, wrestling champion, all that. I cried when the little kid left. Then after that, other kids wanted to see me. And I told them, don't waste the time in red tape. Anytime a little kid wanted to see me, bring them to the set. One day there were 6 little kids there, some in wheelchairs, some in other. They wanted to meet me, and I loved them. And you can't fool the kids. The parents at the time, you gotta understand, they was a little frightened of this guy, Mr. T. You know, they said, ooh, wow. And the kids would say, no, mommy, Mr. T likes kids, you know. Then the parents would see my interviews and say, maybe a little bit, you know, so. But anyways, the little kids, some kids had cancer. And I would tell them, God loved them, don't give up, you know, keep believing. So now we speed up from 1983, 84, we speed up to 1995. I had a sore on my ear that it didn't heal. And then I went to the doctor, we did tests and stuff like that, and his smoke tests and all other stuff. Then he came back and told me I had cancer. Then we said it was T-cell lymphoma. So I went through radiation, went through chemotherapy and all that. So what I'm saying, long story short, if I couldn't call on that same God that I told the little kids to believe in, if I couldn't call on that same God I told everybody else to believe in, then that meant that I was a liar and I was a phony. So when I stand here to tell you God love you and be good or whatever, it's tried and tested. Like when I tell the little kids to be good, listen to their mother. That's what I did. Don't do drugs, don't hang with the wrong crowd. That's what I did. So I pray, so I tell them prayer works. I said, Lord, I never prayed and said, oh, why me? Why not me? I said, God, give me the strength to do your will. So I'm here to tell everybody else, don't give up, don't quit. Whatever you're dealing with, so everybody here, you don't have a sign on your head saying, I'm depressed, I'm going through a situation. You know, everybody's dealing with something. So I asked God, I said, come in here. I prayed this morning. I said, God, I don't know who all I'm going to meet today, but I pray that when they see me, let them see you. When they hear me, let them hear you. Sure, I want to make you laugh, I want you to feel good, but really I want you to feel good after you leave. Say, wow, Mr. T took time with us. I just don't want to shoot you away. Okay, keep going, that stuff. I want to take time. Some of you want to hear some of your stories that, Mr. T, I remember you on this interview, how you talked about God, how you said this here, how you love your mother and stuff. That's who I am, you know. So I could, like Dr. King said, if I can help somebody, as I pass along, if I can cheer someone with a word or song, if I can show someone that is traveling wrong, then my living will not be in vain. So that's my story of being diagnosed with cancer. I didn't quit, you know, cancer made me stronger. So God bless you. Bless you.
Thank you for sharing responsibility. I wanted to pivot slightly and talk about your famous catchphrase. Can't remember it. What is it again?
Oh, so I'm glad you brought it up. And this is good. You know, people gotta learn. People ask me, say, where did that phrase come from? I pity the fool. So let me tell you, a lot of people don't know this here too. It first showed up in Rocky 3, you know, and I want to tell you about pity. So if you pity somebody, if I pity somebody, actually that's a good thing. Because pity means mercy. And also, pity you'll find in the Bible. Also, you'll find the word food in the Bible, you know. So, and the reason why I pity, see, it allows me not to hate. I don't want to hate nobody, but I'll pity you. You know, I say, look at that food. God, please pity. You know, so pity is good, you know. So that's where it comes from. You know, see, when after we was filming Rocky, and Rocky, he didn't want me to. See, the reason why I was so mean in Rocky, he was the director and the actor. So he told me, be mean, Mr. T. So I was acting, you see what I mean? You know, so I'm really not that mean. I act mean for the bullies, because they be waiting on me. I said, what you do that fool? We were trying to scare him off. So, well, like I said, then he told me, he saw him in the locker room, and you're trying to get me mad and stuff like that. What do you say? I'm trying to come back. I said, no, I wouldn't curse. I would say this here. He said, I pity the fool trying to take what I got. I'll destroy any man. You know, so it's, that just, you know, macho talk stuff, you know, trying to get in his head. And I'm going to tell you a little story about my mother in that movie. After I got the movie, then we did a private screening in Chicago. So I brought all my family and using the movie, seeing me, and me being a Christian, and my mother, a very religious lady. You know, I was thinking like a kid. I said, wow, my mother might not like it because there's some cursing in there. So, like a kid, I would say, Mother, I didn't curse, he cursed. What you did, the scene with curse, remember Carl Weathers' Apollo Creed, he was telling them, he said, Rocky, this guy would knock you on your blank blank. And I was going to say, Mother, I didn't curse, he did it. You know, so at the end of the movie, you know, you say, wow, that was some movie, everybody wanted to pet me. And I wanted the reaction from my mother. And I held her coat. I'm going to show you something. My mother kept me together, you know, because so I'm going to demonstrate. So after the movie, I had my mother coat because I wanted her reaction. I was holding it for her, and my mother wouldn't look at me, pretend I'm my mother. So I had her coat and put it on her, and I looked to put it on, and she turned. Then she turned again. Then my sister took my mother's coat from me and put it on my mother. And this is what my mother told me. And that's why, like I said, I listened to my mother. She didn't look at me. She said, son, you don't say that to a lady. It was in the movie. I wanted to do y'all know that part where I said, I was trying to get Rocky to fight me. I was trying to provoke him. So the man, as we talk, if you want a guy to fight you, you say something about his mama or his wife or girlfriend. So, you know, I said, Rocky wouldn't fight me. I said, don't get his chunko statue, give him guns, I'm waiting. So he wouldn't fight me. Then I said, hey woman, I bet you stay up late every night, dreaming you're a real man, don't you? Tell you what, bring your pretty little self to my apartment. I'll show you a real man. That was good in theatrics. But I was glad that my mother told me. I was glad that I still listened to my mother. See, I could have said, oh, Mom, we're going to make a lot of money, and I'm going to buy you that house, Mama, and I'm going to buy some other stuff. I didn't say it when she said, son, you don't say that to a lady. I humbled myself and said, yes, ma'am. Then she told me, she said, son, there are some things that money just can't buy. Since Rocky, I was offering all kind of crazy, stupid stuff. I said, no, I can't do that. I can't say that. If I'm telling kids in the street don't do drugs, what like me in a drug movie? I said, no, I'll pass on that. Then to tell you something else about me, you know, trying to do the right thing, telling kids to be good, listen to their parents and all that. If y'all remember, that's how I got invited to the White House. My mother always told me, whatever you do, whatever you say, wherever you go, somebody's watching, good and the bad. So when I used to tell kids with the ATV filming, we would stop and I would tell the kids around the school, I said, be good, listen to the teacher, do your homework, study hard, listen to your mother, and stuff like that. So that was my message everywhere I go, telling them. Now, lo and behold, in 1983, November, the word get to the White House. Nancy Reagan was working on a program, Just Say No. And my message got to her. Wow. And they said, we want to bring Mr. T to the White House. And do you know, nobody believed me. So they called the president of NBC. They said, we want Mr. T at the White House next week. I told everybody, man, the White House called me. They want me there. Man, you ain't going nowhere. I said, man, it was guys on the 18 didn't believe me. Man, what kind of stuff is that? But they believe me now. So anyway, you know, and the funny part about that, I call it funny, you know, when tell people it's always been good. First they invite me. Then, this is the funny part. When they check my background, you know, because you got to have a security clearance to be to the White House. Some of you might not know what I'm talking about. If you Google Mr. T and Ronald Reagan, Nancy Reagan, you see me at the White House. I was dressed up like Santa Claus. And Nancy Reagan sat on my lap. Wow. And I gave her Mr. T doll. There's some dolls like this, y'all, you know. So they checked my background. Born on the south side of Chicago, they checked it. No police record, no break-in robbery, no. Wow, let's check it in. Mr. T. They said, wow, there's something. Basically, they were saying, how did you grow up on the south side of Chicago, welfare, food stamps, crime over you, under you, around you? How did you escape? I said, I didn't escape. I love my mother too much. I love my mother too much. I got invited to school because kids wanted me to go against my mother's teaching. I love my mother because my mother used to scrub floors. She didn't say rob nobody. She scrubbed floors so I could go to school. My mother didn't scrub floors so I could be a thug, so I could break into somebody's house. How can I tell my mother I love her? I'm gonna sex another mother person. And I'm gonna tell you something. I told you about being a wrestler, football player, and all that. And that's a message to the kids. Don't let somebody call you a bad name and you got to prove that you're not that. Guys called me a sissy. And I was a wrestling champion. I could have ripped their throat out. They calling me a sissy. Why? Because I wouldn't steal. Because I wouldn't break into nobody's house. I'm proud I never stole nothing. So I'll be a sissy. And they both. They can't get a job because they got a bad record. So that's who I am. Like I said, I'm just an old-fashioned, overgrown, tough mama's boy. I love my mother. You know, so like I said, tell everybody, through me, you should see part of my mother in me. Mother taught me to be nice and kind. I remember once in LA, I was holding the door for a lady, and she was surprised. She said, wow, Mr. T, you're so nice. Of course I'm nice, I just act tough. So that's my story, okay. All right, I get so excited, okay. No, thank you. Because some people don't know that, you know, so I gotta fill you in what makes me what I am. See, just the front I act, what I'm deep inside, that's who I am, you know.
Well, I've got some fan questions.
Okay, I'm ready. I hope I'm ready.
I've got them pre-selected. They were sitting in, so we've got them here. I'm going to start reading them out. So, this is from Tyson in Arlington. How did you first craft that iconic look, the chains, the mohawk, and the attitude? How did you craft that?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I want people to know. Now, the gold image, I never wore gold to say I'm richer than somebody else. It was, everything I did was for a reason. I wore 7 earrings in a hairstyle. You know, even though it's not Mohican Indian, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Mohican Indians. But back in the day, in the 70s, I was looking through the National Geographic magazine, and I saw some Africans had a haircut like this here, and they were from the country of Mali. They was called the Dinka Warriors, or some people call them the Mandinkas. I said, wow, that looks sharp. And they had beads and stuff like that. So I started wearing my hair that way because I wanted to be different, you know. And also the earrings, I wore 7 earrings, 3 in my right ear, 4 in my left ear. The 3 were symbolic of the Father, Son, and the Holy Ghost. The 3 wise men, the 3 Hebrew boys, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. The 3 parts of the day, morning, noon, and night. The 3 graces, faith, hope, and love. The 3 civil rights workers, Cheney, Goodman, and Swerve. Then I wear 4 in my left ear. The 4 was symbolic of the 4 seasons, spring, winter, summer, and fall. The 4 directions, north, east, south, and west. The 4 gospel writers, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. You put the 3 and 4 together, it's 7. It was 7 times that Joshua marched around the walls of Jericho. Samson had 7 locks of hair. There's 7 colors in the rainbow. There's 7 notes and numbers in the musical bars. God made heaven and earth in 6 days. He rested on the 7th. So that's what the gold represented things, you know. So that's the story behind the gold. And then I stopped wearing the gold. Thank you. I stopped wearing the gold in 2005 when Katrina hit because I felt it would be insensitive and disrespectful for me to have gold and people lost everything. It'd be like me, look at me, I got this, and people suffering and dying. And my mother told me, son, never grandstand. But I have to tell you because I want you to know, my church here took in a lot of the people that lost their home in Louisiana. And I gave my gold to my church. Some of it, I said, buy food and clothes for the people. That's who I am. No, you did. That's a Mr. T starter kid.
Mr. T, this is from Nick. In the 80, B.A. Blackus was a fan favorite. What part of that character felt most like you, and what part was mostly for television?
Well, good. I'm going to just tell you because I feel a little comfortable.
What part?
Yes, all right. So what part felt more like me? It's the part that B.A. was no nonsense. He wanted to get the job done, no foolishness. You know, he could, I'll tell you the part that wasn't like me. B.A. could fix anything. My car wouldn't start one day and I called a repairman. He laughed at me. He said, I thought you could fix it. I said, it's on TV, fool. Hey, you know. I said, hey, so fix that B.A. Okay, you got it. Damn, at home I can't do nothing, you know. I said, oh man. But, you know, in real life, I'm a strong, solid time. I'm always trying to get direction and be good. I'm just a big teddy bear. So that part, you know, B.A., you know, he's a no-nonsense type of guy. And that's who I am. That relates to me. And I'll tell you something else funny. For Friday yesterday, so I run into some smart-headed fans. They said, I thought Mr. T don't fly. I said, B.A. don't fly, fool. I didn't really say that. I said, no, B.A. is afraid to fly. Mr. T ain't afraid of nothing. I let him know, but then I had a sandwich. I said, yeah, I gotta eat my sandwich. When I eat my sandwich, I go to sleep. So it felt good, you know. So it was good. We took pictures, had fun. You know, that's what it's all about, you know. So.
I've got a follow-on question from what you said you're not good at fixing anything.
Right.
But do you have any secret skills that you are very good at, like that nobody would know about? Any secret skills?
I don't call them secret. I really don't. You know.
Like you're good at sewing, crafts, art and crafts. Clearly very good at fashion.
No, I mean, I blow people's mind when they find out sometimes I'm kind of smart. They don't know that, you know. See, my mother told me it takes a smart man to play dumb, you know. See, I let them think I'm not little bit. They got to find out and say, wow, he was on the honor roll in college. Then I say, you can't believe everything you read. You know, then sometimes they hear me talking. I say, man, you pretty deep. I mean, I like to read, you know, so that's the part I like fooling people, you know, that they thinking I'm just, you know, a little slow and stuff like that, you know, so, not just, See, that's the thing, but I'm kind of shy. You know, because I really, people don't think, say, for real, this is, yeah, I laugh and whatnot. Or then sometimes people see me laugh. They didn't know I laugh. They said, wow, you laugh. You duh. Hey, so I'm, you know.
Thanks, Mr. T.
We learned a lot about me today. Some of y'all probably didn't know. Somebody said, wow, I want to see really nice. Yes, I am, you know. It is to tell that I'm nice. When I would go to the hospital a lot, and mothers would ask me to pray for their children. And I remember I go to the hospital and I would call my mother at home. I said, Mother, I broke down today. And I started crying. I said, Mother asked me to pray for a baby. She said, son, that don't mean you weep because you cried. She said, Jesus cried. I cried because I felt their pain, I felt their emotion. You know, and my mother explained to me this. She said that mother had to believe that you believe in God. She wouldn't give her baby to you, to anybody, to pray for them. So they know that you believe in God. That's why she asked. Then other parents did, you know. So I'm humble about it. That keeps me together, you know, and keep me level-headed, because that's all I just want to do. I just want to love on people. God has blessed me tremendously. God didn't heal me from cancer so I could make more money, buy more cars, look at me and all that. No. They called me in the hospital. I said, I'll be there. I go, that's who I am, you know. So other stuff is just I act. Like I said, I act tough, you know, for the bullies, you know. But actually, I'm a scary cat, you know. I said, you better get out of here. And hope they run. If they don't run, I'm a monster.
Mr. T, it's okay. I am loving this. You're loving it, so okay. Mr. T, I'll say this. You're making my job so easy. I thank you for that.
My mother always told me to respect the ladies.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I had a question.
Okay.
So you told us about your faith.
Yes.
You talked about your catchphrase.
Yes.
You know, everything like that. What is Mr. T like at home? What do you do? What's your routine? Daily life?
I'm gonna tell you my favorite TV show, The Beverly Hillbillies. I like Jake Clampett, Ellie Mae, Jet Rowe, and whatnot. See, they were super rich. They wasn't just the richest on the block. They was riches in all West Coast. And they were just humble people. And that's what it's about, you know. And so at home, I like to watch old westerns. I like to watch stuff and whatnot, you know, and yeah, westerns and yeah.
Are you a homebody? Do you like steak? Do you like meat?
Yes, I do. Because, see, I have two speeds. I tell everybody. See, yeah. I have two speeds. On and off. When I'm on, nobody's better. When I'm off, I'm waiting to get back on. I'm gonna bring the energy. I'm pumped. Like when I was coming here, I said, man, I can't wait to get to Fan Expo. I'm excited. I said, they're gonna think I'm on drugs. You know, I said, I wanna make sure everybody, I said, I wanna come there. I'm gonna kiss babies, hug grandmas, arm wrestle tough guys. I'm gonna be there. I want everybody to get something out of it, you know? I don't want nobody to leave to say, wow, he was a boy, you know? So I want to lift somebody's spirit. Like I said, that's why my prayer, I said, Lord, I don't know who I'm going to reach today, who I'm going to touch, but somebody is going through something. So Lord, maybe I can give an inspiring word. So that's what I just want to do, you know, I want you to feel the electricity, feel the energy, you know, and that's what it's about, you know, so, wow.
What brings you joy? Because you're bringing us joy, but what brings you joy?
No, this is joy. This is humbling. Really it is. I'm going to tell you something. I got this camera crew following me. They want to do a story of my life. You know what I mean? So they were with me the other day in church. So last week, we started filming about a month ago. I blew their mind because I said, you want to know about Mr. T? Let's go to Skid Row. Oh boy, those guys were scared. Oh man. I said, you want to know who I am? This is who I am. So I took them to Skid Row in Los Angeles to a homeless shelter called the Midnight Mission. Because I've been going there for years, loving on the people, you know, telling them don't give up and stuff like that. Because that's the place my pastor told me when I came to Los Angeles to film Rocky 3. He said, T, while you out there, find a place that you can minister to. So we wasn't filming, I would go to the homeless shelter. See, I'm not like the other phony celebrity that want to use some homeless person when they did something bad, want to pretend I'm really for the homeless. They're just lying, They're not there when the camera's not there. But I've been going there, believe it or not, for 40 years. 40 years. So that's how I like to spend my time giving back, to the less fortunate, to the forgotten people, So that's my story. That's what makes me what I am. That gives me joy. Just like when the guys they would do other things, they said, let's go golfing, let's go play golf. I said, no, I'd rather go to the children's hospital. I'll just pop in there, lift people's spirit. So like a lot of time, see like I'm in Dallas now. See, before the COVID situation happened, I would come to Dallas, then I'd get checked in at the hotel before my event. I would go to a couple hospitals. Because the kids or the adults who are in the hospital, they are fans, and they hear about me coming to town, but they can't see me, they're in the hospitals. So I would go to them. That's who I am, So that gives me joy. I can come here, that you thought enough for me to come see me. So at least I'm supposed to have enough that I want to give you some joy, motivate you, inspire you, make you smile or whatever, laugh. Because we have so much angry and hostility going on. So if I can bring you some part of joy, that's what it's all about. I just want to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I don't take it lightly that you came out to see me. So I say thank you. My mother, thank you. She be proud. She would thank you, son, for doing this here. Thank you.
Mr. T, I had one last question.
What time fly when you're having fun, don't it? Man, I just feel like I just got here. Time to go.
I know, I love when you said I have 2 boats on and off and you stood up straight away like there's no And also, I'll say this, your laugh has become one of my favorite things.
Oh, see, it makes people laugh because I don't have a tough guy laugh. They say, laugh like a cross, man, I'm happy.
What does a tough guy laugh say?
Yeah. And sometimes when people say, wow, see, I get that, I think like that, so I'm entertained, I try to make them laugh, and especially because knowing I'm really not that way, so I growl, hey, I'm gonna get you. Yeah.
See, I have absolutely loved listening to your stories today, and I'm honored that you brought so much joy and
Thank you.
I love that you're promoting kindness as well, because it's a hard world out there.
Yes.
And we need to be kind to one another.
Yes. Show some love. Not just say it, but be about it. Just be kind. Thank you. No thank you. That's who I am. I want people to know that really about me. I try to live that, And that's why, like I said, I carry my Bible. I said, no, don't get mad. Forgive them. Let it go. Because you got to understand. Let me stand up right this here. My reputation. Some cat, I'll be lying to you, but if sometimes I wasn't challenged. Because sometimes people say, hey, Mr. T, I believe I can take you. Then I remember what my mother told me, and this blows their mind. She said, you ain't so tough. And I say, you're right, I'm not tough. What else can we talk about? He had nowhere to go, you know what I mean? Because he wanted to say, I'll knock you out. I said, you're right, I'm not tough. Then he just standing there looking stupid. Then I tell him, I said, a tough guy can't do what I do. I go to the hospitals, I cry. I feed the homeless, I cry. I hug women that's on the sidewalk that's begging for bread, and I cry. Tough guys don't do that. So you're right, I'm not tough. I don't want to be tough. Only time I'm tough, I tell my kids about being tough. You gotta be tough when you gotta say no to drugs. Don't get involved in drugs. And I know a lot of people get caught in by accident, but they don't understand. You get addicted the first time. And nobody grows up and say, wow, I want to be an addict. Everybody says, oh, I can handle it. They ain't going to get me. Yeah, do. Then you can't get away from it. So I tell you, don't even start. Let them call you a sissy. Let them call you a square. It's okay. But like my mother said, you got to consider the source. It's like if a guy called me a sissy, called me, telling me, who's saying that? Somebody's jealous, that I worked hard, that I said no to drugs, that I wanted to be something, that I love my mother, that the love of my mother was more powerful than the gains. You know, and I would tell the people, the reason why I respect my mother, I would think about if I did something wrong and wind up in jail. I would think about my mother coming to see me and start crying and saying, son, why did you? I did the best I could with what I had. And right then I'd be saying, wow, I let my mother down to hang with my so-called buddy. What a bummer. So I didn't want that. My mother's proud of me, not because I made money and all that. My mother's proud of me that I still believe in God. And she said, son, don't forget the less fortunate. That's why she's proud of me. She's not saying, well, look at my son on TV, this and that. My mother's low-key. She's going to heaven now, but she lives in my heart. So I remember what she taught me. Be kind. Feed the less fortunate. Be considerate. Be nice. Hold the doors for the ladies. Stuff like that. I don't have to prove how tough I am. You say you're tougher than me? Okay, fine. You know, next, you know. So again, thank y'all so much.
Thank you so much for your wonderful words. Thank you for being inspiration for many decades, right up until now, and I really hope you have a wonderful weekend in Dallas.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank y'all.